Good morning to you all in. This is the first all in playoff hunt preview. We're going to talk about the state of the league right now. This is the first playoff picture. We're in week 13. Side note, good job, guys, getting your games in. Great job, actually. A lot of games been taken care of this season, and we are close to the playoffs in less than a month. So hey, that's a salute to you guys, number one. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get a look at the first playoff preview for the league. This is the number 1 through number 7 seed. As you can see, going into this week, we have the Browns and the 49ers with bye weeks at respectively 10 and 1. The 2 seeds are the Buffalo Bills and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The 3rd seed is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Indianapolis Colts. The 4th seed currently are the Denver Broncos and the Green Bay Packers. The 5th seeds are the Baltimore Ravens and the Los Angeles Rams. The 6th seed is the Carolina Panthers and the New York Jets. The 7th seed is the Seattle Seahawks and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me look at the comments real quick. That's got to be Jay. He said the Rams are ready for the offseason. Well, look like you're not going to be getting ready for the offseason, buddy. You're going to be making the playoffs. So let's take a look. Let's come out of here real quick. Let's go to the standings. Give me a second. It's on a delay. YouTube is a little bit on delay from what I'm doing at the house. So I'm going to start off with the NFC. Let me let it get up on the screen first. Okay. As I mentioned already, the 49ers are the number 1 seed with a 10-1 record. The Buccaneers, let's wait till they go down. The Buccaneers are the number 2 seed. Wait for it to go down on the screen. They're the number 2 seed. They got a win against Atlanta last night. They have not lost a user game side, though. Let me get that out of the way. The Buccaneers are looking like they're going to win that. Well, they're in position to win that division, but they still got some tough competition remaining in the last few games. I'll go to their schedule soon. As you can see on the board, let's wait till it go down to highlight the Rams. The Rams are the 3rd team listed on this board, on the standings. They have the 3rd best record. However, they're in the NFC West, so right now they're the 5th team in the playoff picture, based on, of course, the 49ers out to a hot start. Next, let's go down to Carolina. The Carolina Panthers are 9-3. As I mentioned, they are the 6th seed. As you can see, that's their record of 9-3. They still got a couple of, they can still win this division. They have an opportunity. They got 2 games with Tampa. Again, I'm going to go over the schedule soon, but they still got 2 games left with Tampa. And wait on it to go down so I can continue this. Seattle right now is listed as the number 7 team in the NFC. They have an 8-3 record. They still got some games remaining as well, as you can see. Let me keep going. I hate it is so delayed on YouTube because I'm actually going a little faster on my system. The Philadelphia Eagles lead the division at the moment. I'm going to make that very, very clear. I have no disrespect to the Philadelphia Eagles. Salute to you leading the division right now. But the Philadelphia Eagles have 4 divisional games remaining. And I'm going to go over that as we get ready to get closer to the breakdowns of each team's schedule. Now, right now, the first team in the playoff hunt on the board is the Dallas Cowboys at 6-5. They still got 4 divisional games left. After their game against the Raiders, their last 5, I think they have 4 in the division. They have 1 with the Rams, if I'm not mistaken. We'll go over that schedule. Down to the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona has 2 forced wins. They're going to be at 8 wins before it's all said and done, but they still got a couple of big divisional games left too. They got a couple of big games left. Going down to the next team, as you can see, which is the Washington football team. Washington got to get it together. You're on a 3-game losing streak. Washington has 1 game remaining outside of the division. The next 5 games are out or in the division. They have 5 divisional games left. Also, although this might surprise a lot of people, next team that's still in the playoff hunt is the New York Giants. They are 5-6. They have 3 divisional games remaining. So they have an opportunity to make this division up, as you're going to get a chance to see when I break down the schedule. Also, as you can see, let's go down to the NFC North leader, which is the Green Bay Packers. Go wait on them to get on the board. They leading the division right now. They still got some huge games remaining. So that division is not over. And the last team in the playoff hunt, let's go down to them, are those Minnesota Vikings. They are currently 4-8. They're a game out of the NFC North, and they're still a couple of forced wins on their schedule that's going to make it up. So somebody's going to have to deal with Jay Lee in the first round from the NFC North. So, yeah. Yeah, the Packers are the 4th seed at 5-7. I do see what you just said, whoever the comment was. If y'all can, when you're streaming on there, try to sign up so I can see your name. Let me come out of here. Let's go to the schedules. Let's go ahead and go to the breakdown of the schedule. I'm going to start off with the San Francisco 49ers. Let me get there real quick. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to start talking until we get to the board. Let's go to the 49ers first. Let me scroll down, get all the way down there. Okay. As you can see, they got a game with Bino this week. So that game is going to be a game that's going to be huge for the division. After that, they got Buddy at Cincinnati. Week 15, they got Atlanta. Just things going to be delayed, so I'm going to be naming it off as I go. Week 15, they got Atlanta at home. Week 16 and 17 are forced wins. And then week 18 is going to get down there shortly. Week 18 is a game against Jay Lee and the LA Rams. That game still could be a division clinching game for both teams. So it ain't over. They're in great position to get the number 1 seed, but this thing is far from over. Let's go to Tampa, who currently is listed as number 2 on the NFC board. And let me scroll all the way down to them. Let's get all the way down to them before I start talking about them. Okay, as far as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they got a big win against Atlanta. So that first upset alert game got ruined by Tampa. Thank you, Tampa, very, very much. Ruined the game. You could have threw that game. Anyways, they got a huge game of the week next week with the Buffalo Bills. So Anthony P and the Buffalo Bills is going to be their game in week 14. I'm looking forward to that game of the week, to be honest. They're going to have a force against the New Orleans Saints. The last 3 weeks, they have the Carolina Panthers 2 of the last 3 games. So that's going to be big. And then Ryan and the Jets played in week 17. So they still have an opportunity at the number 1 seed as well, but they also better tighten up because that division is not over. The Panthers can very well still win the division. Now, let's try to get to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are currently leading that division. I'm going to wait till we get all the way down before I start talking about them. As you see, they have a bye week in week 14, but if you remember, week number 13, let's go back up. Week number 13, they have the game that they have to cover the 21 points to earn the superstar. If Ryan loses by anything under 21, he steals the superstar from the Philadelphia Eagles. Then they got a bye. After the bye week, Let's get down. Let's wait till we get to week 15 because it's still a game that ain't posted up there right now. They have 4 straight divisional games. They have Nick Green and the Washington football team twice. They got Darrell and the Giants week 16, and then they got the Dallas Cowboys week 18. So again, they have division games remaining after the Jets game. So if Todd's going to win this division, he's going to have to step up. That's the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's go to the Green Bay Packers, who currently sit as the division leader out in the NFC North. Okay, now, as you can see, the Packers are on a bye. Next week, they have Justin and the Chicago Bears. I think Justin will be trying to play those games out to play spoiler, so that could be a game that could get played next week. I have him set as a force at the moment, but that's up to Justin if he chooses to play. But the 3-game stretch that's going to make or break the Green Bay Packers, they are at Baltimore, playing Kyle and the Baltimore Ravens. Moving down to week 16. Let's go to week 16. They have the Shaq Washington-led Cleveland Browns at Green Bay. That's going to be a big game for that team. Week 17, still in the division. They have to take on myself and the Minnesota Vikings. We'll see if I play that game because the Vikings are in a fixing Jesus positions, but we'll get to them later on. But moving on to the Jay Lee-led Los Angeles Rams, let's go down to their remaining games. Now, Jay Lee has the John Carroll-led Jacksonville Jaguars week 13. After that game, taking on, let's get down to it. Come on, let's get down to it. All right, week 14, the game, a Monday nighter at Arizona with Tevin Ratcliffe and the Arizona Cardinals. This is a huge game, not only for the division. This could essentially eliminate Tevin if he loses this game. Next week, after that, I see you guys in the comments. Y'all are horrible. Week 15, you got the Seahawks in Bino taking on the Rams. That's going to be huge for the division as well. Also for a wild card picture, if you're the Seahawks got to try to win this game if they want to get higher on that NFC playoff board. The following week, you got Jay Lee and the Rams going to Minnesota to take on myself and the Vikings. Give me the force, Jay. Go ahead, give me the force, man. You don't need it. Okay, week 17, that's going to probably be game of the week because if you are in the chat, you know these two guys. I like their rivalry. They have fun, clean rivalry. Week 17, they have the Baltimore Ravens at Baltimore. So that's going to be a fun game. I wonder if that's going to become a play for a player game. You never know with them two guys. They have some fun matchups. And then the final week of the season, of course, as I mentioned, they got the 49ers at home. So we're going to see how that game will play out coming up. So that's the Rams. Let's go to the Carolina Panthers, who is currently number 6 on the board. Let's go to week 14. They got Atlanta, depending on if Sean chooses to play at this point, because that team don't have a chance of making the playoffs. So it's going to be up to him if you want to play spoiler at this point. If he has the opportunity to play spoiler, we'll see if he does it. If not, that may be a force for the Carolina Panthers. Week 15, they also have to deal with Anthony P. and those Buffalo Bills. Is going to go down to them in a second. There we go. They got to go to Buffalo and deal with them as well. As I mentioned earlier, they have 2 of their final 3 in division against the Buccaneers. They have an opportunity to win this division, but it's on them. They have to win out to win the division. So, yes, Levi is not suspended. Levi is not being allowed to be at sub linebacker. If Levi's at sub linebacker again, then Anthony P, we're going to run a formation called sub Anthony P and get you out the league. Anyways, as you can see, 2 of the last 3 weeks is going to be against Tampa Bay, and then New Orleans is week 17. That's a forced win for the Carolina Panthers. So that's them. Seattle, last but not least, they're number 7 in the NFC. As you can see, again, let's get down to it. Okay, they got their 49ers this week. Then they have a forced win. The Texans have chose to tank at this point in the season. Week 15. Let's let it get down on the board. Week 15 is Jay Lee and the Rams taking on the Seahawks. That's going to be big, as I mentioned, for the NFC playoff picture. Justin, that game is going to be week 16. It depends on him if he wants to actually play the game and ruin that number 1 pick for Darrell and those Giants, or will he choose to play spoiler? We'll see. Week 17 is going to be another forced win for the Seahawks. They're going to take on the Lions. And then week number 18 is, if Tevin is still choosing to play at this point, we don't know what's the wins loss is going to be like at this point in a couple of days. That's going to be the game of week 18. So that's the 7 that's in the race. Now, for the guys in the playoff hunt, we're going to go first with the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go to week number 13 before we start talking about them. Now, for the Cowboys, if they're going to win this, if they're going to have a shot at the division or even making the postseason, they have a very, very tough task on their hands, because they're going to get a forced win against the Saints. Cam chose to tank, as we all know. The final 5 weeks, you got 2 games in division against Nick Green and the Washington football team. Week 15 is Darrell at New York. Week 17, you got Tevin and the Arizona Cardinals is going to go down to them on the board. And as I mentioned on the Eagles schedule, week 18 is at Philadelphia. So the Cowboys have a tough task on their hand if they're going to be the one to get in and win that division. Moving on to Tevin and the Arizona Cardinals, who are still in the mix at the moment. So, Tevin, if you're thinking about tanking, don't you even attempt it, buddy. You're still in the race. Again, I have a force set right now for Tevin against Justin and the Bears. That's depending on Justin. So, we're going to wait and see what happens with that. But if they do get the win, they will be at 8 wins, because they're going to have a force against the Detroit Lions as well. So the games that they will be playing remaining are week 14 against Jay Lee and the Rams. Week 16 is going to scroll down to the second against Antheus and the Indianapolis Colts at home. As I also mentioned again, depending on the situation in a couple of weeks, they got a week 17 game with Tyreek and the Dallas Cowboys, and then Bino last week of the season at home. So, again, it truly depends on where their situation is at this point of the season. Moving on to the Washington football team, I gave you a brief preview of them earlier. So, let's go to it. Hold on 1 second. Let's go back. Okay, let me get it to. All right, there we go. Week 13 is the last game that Nick will be playing outside of the NFC East. They have 5 divisional games remaining. They have 2 with the Dallas Cowboys, 2 with the Philadelphia Eagles, and 1 with the New York Giants. So, of course, as I mentioned above, they still got a chance to win the division, but it is on Nick. Nick is the only person who controls his destiny in regards to winning that division out in the East or even making the playoffs. Now, I mentioned earlier about the 5 and 6 Giants having a shot at the postseason. Let's show you guys why I said they still have a legit shot. So week 13, they got the Miami Dolphins. Week 14, you got the Chargers at LA. Week 15, you got Tyreek and the Dallas Cowboys. Week 16, you got the Eagles. Week 17, it's going to probably be a force for the Giants. And week 18 is Nick. If they can possibly win out, This division goes to the New York Giants. And salute to Darrell, he's one of the best users in the league. No jab at nobody else in the East, but you better keep that man out of the race because if he get a shot, he's going to get in. So, East, you better kick him while he down or while he was force lost down. Either way you want to put it. But again, they still have a legit shot of making the playoffs. Now, last but not least, the Fix-It Jesus Minnesota Vikings. We don't want to be here, guys. We do not want to be here. Anyways, the last couple of games remaining for the Minnesota Vikings. The Pittsburgh Steelers, we got BG and the Pittsburgh Steelers next week at home in Minnesota. Depending on Justin, whether he chooses to play or not, that could be 2 forced wins to put them at 6 already, with week 16 being the LA Rams at home. They got to deal with those tough J-League Rams, and then week 17 at Green Bay. So the Vikings still have a legit shot to win the division. They're not going to do much in the postseason, but they still can win the division. So we got the NFC out the way. Let's go to the AFC. Let's go back to the stands before we discuss the AFC, though, first. That was an in-depth description of the NFC. Just had to get them out the way because the NFC got a lot of people left to compete for the division title. Now, let's go to the AFC. I see somebody say 71. Hey. We're going to talk about that right now. Anyways, number 1 seed right now on a bye week are the Shaq Washington-led Cleveland Browns. They are 11-1. Also behind them, they're also going to get a forced win this week against the Saints. Are Anthony P and the Buffalo Bills. They're going to be at a record of 11-1 as well, entering week 14. The number 3 seed is the Indianapolis Colts at 9-3. They got a forced win coming against the Texans. They're going to go to 10-3. So their top 3 will not change at all. The Denver Broncos, led by KD Bailey, just beat the Kansas City Chiefs last night. They're more than likely in position to clinch that division. So I could very well see all 4 divisions being over, depending on the situation. Let's see if the Rams can, I keep saying the Rams. So look at it, the chat. But the Ravens, let's see, can these guys make it a game? But again, number 5 seed right now going up to them is the Baltimore Ravens, led by Kyle Miller. They are in the best position to clinch number 5. They will go to Denver at the current moment. Behind them, the number 6 seed, shout out to Ryan Burns and the New York Jets. Let's get down to them on the screen. You guys are 6-5. You still have a legit opportunity of making the playoffs. Moving to number 7 on the board is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Shout out to BG and the Pittsburgh Steelers. These guys right now are 6-5. They have a legit shot of making the playoffs as well. And as far as in the hunt, there are 3 teams still left in the hunt at the moment. The first one being right below them is Dwayne Mcneill and the LA Chargers. They are 5-6-1. They still have a legit shot at the postseason. They only have 2 user games remaining. They're going to have 3 forced wins. So they'll be at 8 wins before it's all said and done. But they have to play the Broncos and the Giants on the board. So again, not a guarantee that they're going to make the postseason, but they are going to be at 8 wins. Last but not least on the board, no, it's actually 2 teams, The Miami Dolphins have a legitimate shot of going 9-8. They have several teams remaining on the board that's going to get a forced win. So the Dolphins are a sleeper. Do not count those guys out. They can possibly get the number 7 seed. We'll see what happens. And then last on the board, I'm going to go down to them on the screen, is the Buddy Bucket-led Cincinnati Bengals. Although they have the toughest road remaining schedule-wise, you will get a chance to see it. They still can make the playoffs. So, again, they can still make the playoffs. Let me get that out the way. Now, let's go to the schedules. We're going to start talking about Let me see. He's gonna go to the Cleveland Browns first. Let's go to the schedules. Yeah, it's this point of the season where you're starting to get those forceful wins, so that could help you out down the road. Let's go to the Browns. As you know, they're on a bye week. They had a big win. Let me get down. I'm going a little further ahead than I should. Here we go. They're on a bye. They had a big win against Kyle Miller and the Baltimore Ravens last week. They're going to come off the bye. They're going to play the Baltimore Ravens. So that's going to be a big game right there. Week 15, they got the Raiders at home. And then, as I mentioned already, they're going to Green Bay week 16. They got BG and the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh week 17. And they have Buddy Buckets and the Bengals week 18. They're in a good position, truthfully, to get that number one seed. But hey, that's why the games are played. Good luck to Shaq Washington and those Cleveland Browns. They are in a great position, though, to get that number one seed. Now, let's go to Anthony P. and the Buffalo Bills. As I mentioned already, they're going to get a force against the New England Patriots, so they'll be at 11-1. But the big showdown next week against Tampa Bay is coming up. Then they got the Panthers at home. That's another big game coming up for those guys. So that could do a big wonder in the AFC playoff picture. Week 16, they should get another force against New England, so that's going to put them at 12 wins already. With the Falcons and Jets being week 17 and week 18, the Bills are truly still in a good position to, at worst, have the number 2 seed and still may have a shot to compete at the number 1 seed. Who knows? Now, on to the Indianapolis Colts. Let me go ahead, before I even discuss the remaining schedule for them, let's get this out the way. That division is over. Let me go ahead and make that clear. That division is over. So we're not even going to sit here and say that anybody have a shot to win the AFC South. That division is over. So you'll see him in the postseason. He got a force win coming up against the Houston Texans bye week. Probably going to get another force against the New England Patriots. Got Tevin in the Cardinals week 16. Gonna probably get 2 more force wins on that back end, depending on if the Raiders and John Carroll and the Jags really want to play. So they are in great position. Their season's pretty much over. They're getting ready for the playoffs. Moving on to the Broncos. Let's go to weeks. Okay, week 14, they got a force. So they're going to be 9-4 automatically. Well, go ahead and make them 10-4 because the Chiefs will be getting ready for the draft at that point. So set them at 10 wins. We're going to go ahead and get out of the way. There are 3 games that they probably will play. The Bengals is week 15. The Bengals have a big game. They got to try to get a dub to have a shot at the playoffs. Week 17, they still going to play the LA Chargers. This is really not, the division is over in that division as well. The Chargers more so needs this game to make the playoffs. Week 16 could possibly be a force depending on if the Raiders choose to play. I did ask a couple of the users if they want to play. Some of them want to play spoiler, some want to tank, but we're going to get to a position where probably week 15, they're going to have no choice but to tank. So Denver's going to win that division too. Now to the first wild card team on the board, the Baltimore Ravens. They are 8-2-1. Let's see their remaining schedule. Week 13, they have BG and the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you all remember, this is a upset alert game. If they win this game, the upset, everybody just get a +4 in the league. That's all that's going to happen. But if BG and the Steelers win that ball game, everybody get a +1 throw power to your starting quarterback. So we're going to be rooting on BG to win that game. No, hey, Kyle, you bro, hey, I want that throw power. Moving on, week 14, they got the Browns in Cleveland. So that's a big game. If they still want to have a shot at the North, they're going to have to win that game. Then week 15, they got the Green Bay Packers at home. Week 16, they got the Bengals in Cincinnati. Week 17, they got the Rams at home. Week 18, they got the Steelers at home. So still a pretty tough schedule for the Ravens. We just gonna see what they can do with it. So good luck the rest of the way, Ravens. But you're in a solid position to make the playoffs. They'll probably in. It just depends on the rest of the schedule for everyone else. Moving on to the 6th seed right now is the New York Jets. See that on the board first. Okay, coming up, they have the Eagles in the other game where the favorite has to cover. So remember, that's going to be big for them. They got a force coming up against the New Orleans Saints. After that, they got the Dolphins in Miami. That game does matter. That's going to probably be a game of the week. Also, just to give you guys a heads up. Then their last 3 games, they got John Carroll and the Jaguars. They're probably going to get a force at this point of the season. Tampa is a huge game for them and at Buffalo. So they still got a lot of work to do to get into the playoffs. Now, number 7 on the board is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's go ahead and get to them. Now, BG and the Pittsburgh Steelers, they got their game, as I mentioned, the upset alert game for week 13 against the Baltimore Ravens. Week 14, they go to Minnesota. Week 15 is going to probably be a 4, so it's week 16. They'll probably be at 8 wins before they even touch those last 2 games. Then they got 2 huge divisional games with Shaq Washington and the Cleveland Browns at home. Then they got Kyle and the Ravens in Baltimore. So we're going to see, can the Pittsburgh Steelers hold strong and get that number 6 or 7 seed. They're in good position, though. BG's a solid user. He more than likely could get that. Let's go to the Bengals, who is the in the hunt team. Ooh. When the schedule come up on this board, y'all are going to go, whoa. Let's be clear. They have the hardest schedule remaining of any team left in All In. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Buddy, if you're watching the stream, bro, you got to lock in. The only game that they have on schedule that is a force is the Chiefs. So the remaining games are the Niners at Katie and the Broncos, home against the Ravens, and at Cleveland. Those 4 games are critical for making the playoffs. So, buddy, gotta lock in, bro. You gonna make the playoffs, you're gonna have a road to do it. You can still do it. That's the thing, though. You still have a shot. But you got to win them games or this thing could be over. I'll be rooting you on, man. All right. Last but not least on the board is the Miami Dolphins. Let's go ahead and get them out the way first. Okay. Week 13, they got Darrell and the New York Giants, as I mentioned, in the opposite side coming up. They got a bye week in week 14. Their last 4 games, truth be told, out after the game against Ryan, they're probably going to be forced win on the back end. So right now, it looks like they're going to probably win 8 games. So these next 2 games are huge. Both New York teams have a chance to either keep them in or kick them out the playoffs. So that's the last team left as far as the in the hunt teams. Now, let me go back to the main screen. Let's go back to the playoff picture. Okay, guys. This is the final look at the playoff picture. This has been your playoff hunt stream. I appreciate all of y'all that have been watching. Most of y'all have been watching for half of this time. I appreciate that. But week 14, of course, it'll be another update. So get them games in. Advance is Sunday or at 90%. So if you haven't scheduled with your opponent, please do. Because if your opponent gets a force, do not get mad. Make sure you schedule your games. But guys, make sure that you tune. I'm going to post the winners from last night, Hawks Pelicans game and everything in there. So make sure you get your points submitted in so you can get them. Don't wait too late to do it. But again, this has been your playoff hunt. And we will see you next week. Good luck for the rest of your games. And I can't wait to see what this playoff picture is going to turn out to be.